Hey. Yes, people, welcome back to another episode of Faith, Grit and Grace, the podcast where we say what we know you're thinking. It is your lovely hostess, Andrina, with my beautiful co-host,
Tasha.
That's right. And you are going to be in for a treat today. We've got some real fun topics. We're going to be asking about arranged marriage. Would you do it? Is it a good idea? We're also going to talk about some of the things that we used to do back in the day in church that we don't quite do anymore. And we ask the question, were we doing too much? And we're also going to talk about burial versus cremation. All this coming up on Faith, Grit and Grace.
1, 2, 3,
4. Yes, Tasha, we are back with another episode.
We are back.
It's been a lot of fun. We've been getting some really, really great feedback from some of the past episodes. I hope you've enjoyed listening to them because we've had a lot of fun making them and we've laughed through them as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But thank you for joining us once again. We've got some real hot topics for you today. So I think we should just jump right in. So Tasha. Let's talk, because you brought this up to me. So let's talk about. I know, right? Well, come on, I want to hear it. What are some of the things that we did kind of back in the day in church that we don't so much do now? What was it that you remembered?
I was having I don't know if it was a flashback or an epiphany the other day. So I was going somewhere and I had on some new shoes and I was like, well, look at me going out in my new shoes and I didn't even wear them to church first to bless them. So that's when I had the thought that, growing up, we had to do these things. Even down to your school shoes, you would wear them to church first. It was like a blessing. You bought a new car. The pastor had to lay hands. I had a friend who attributed prayer to her long hair because she would bless her comb before she even combed her hair. I am telling you. So I started thinking, is it a good practice or were we being super religious?
Were we being super spiritual? Well, I have to say, I don't know if that was a Caribbean thing, because I don't know if, maybe we just weren't holy enough, because I don't remember us doing things like that. But I do kind of see the concept, and I think it's similar to when if you get a new house and you ask people to come and bless it and that kind of thing. I don't know. Is it too much? Aren't we just saying, thank you, God, for giving us this, and these new shoes that you've helped me to buy, these red bottom shoes, Lord, as I walk in them, let me be blessed everywhere I walk. Let me be blessed as I walk, and So I don't know if it's super spiritual.
I don't know, but there has to be something to it, because I remember this old lady in my church, and Sister Moore, I could remember her. Sister Moore had these particular shoes. And I'm telling you, I started going to that church when I was about 10. And when I left to go to Teachers College, she used to still wear those shoes.
Come on, now, you see,
and
God.
Every Sunday she's jumping and she's prancing in those shoes. And I remember saying, I need to get
listen, those shoes were blessed.
Like that, they were blessed.
Yes,
there was something to it.
Never wore out.
There's something to it.
That's
man.
it. No, I think it's important. I think it's important that we do
gratitude
give
is
thanks.
a must.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I'd be wearing, listen, maybe some of my clothes I couldn't even wear to church to ask God to bless them. But I think in general, right?
No.
In general, I think it's important that we do that. I mean, when I moved into my house, even till now, 7 years later, I haven't got it blessed. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I know. Please be praying for me wherever you are right now.
I'm coming with my olive oil later.
That's right. Because I remember all the houses we moved into when we were a child, or when our elders used to get new houses, or my grandparents, we were there walking into every room, praying down a storm, anointing everywhere. And, and I wanted to do it and I just never got round to it. And I do just think, gosh, is my house not blessed because I didn't do it? I mean, I do
it's
pray
something I
there,
do. I know. I pray at home, obviously.
Yeah.
But there are times as well when I go back through and I anoint every entrance, every exit, because spirits and the devil be deviling.
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
I think it is. I think it's important.
When I moved into where we are currently living, I did have pastor come around and pray, even though it's not my home, as I bought it, but it's just a rental property. He came over and he blessed the house. And one of the things he spoke about was, this house would be a house of peace. And every time people come to my home, they don't want to leave.
That's right, because they feel that peace.
They don't want to leave. So I'm like, there's something in that blessing, man.
Yeah.
So bless your stuff. People.
I do think it's important. I do think it's important. And I think it's maybe something that we don't do as much now as we did back in the day. But I think, we have so many things. My issue, and maybe I need to bless it because that would stop ungodly things from happening. Because, sometimes things happen in your house and I think, oh gosh, this house has been blessed. So maybe this shouldn't be happening. So yeah, I think it's really important that we do. Some of the other things I was thinking about that used to happen at church back in the day, but don't happen so much now. One of them was testimony service.
I miss that,
Do you miss testimony service?
I do. Goodness. I was here for the testimony service because Charlie was like storytelling.
Listen.
I was here for it.
Scandalous, some of those testimony services.
Sometimes I'm behind there like, Sister Effie, tell me, what is this struggle? What is this tell me more.
For me, it was when people got up and they were like, right, and you only got like 20 minutes for testimony service and they were like, right, I just want to tell my testimony, but I just want to sing 2 verses of a song. And 6 verses later you're still there because obviously everyone's getting in the spirit and then after that she wants to tell the testimony.
You can't have the testimony without the song. Come on.
Well, there you go. So so testimony service. I mean, we do still do it from time to time, but it's not
the same, and I think a lot of people are afraid to testify now.
Really?
I think so.
What makes you say that?
Because they don't want nobody in their business.
You know what? I think you're right.
Yeah, because church has changed. You've got to realize the whole culture and atmosphere in church has changed. So sometimes you say something and somebody will come to you and they'll be like, your testimony really helped me. But there are some people who are there as if they're in the courthouse recording your testimony, and then they text it to somebody. So I've had instances before I even left the church, somebody's texting me to ask me about, telling me what happened in the service. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. So I think because of that, a lot of people, and then with our church now, because we stream live, sometimes people will not be that brave to, put their laundry out like that. So
I mean,
unfortunately,
I think it's so true. And and you're right. So streaming live, and obviously it means that whatever you say could potentially go viral. We've all seen the videos of things that happen in church that shouldn't. So could potentially go viral. And the older brethren didn't obviously have to contend with that so much back in the day. But I do think you're right, and I think it's the enemy. I think the enemy has shut us up because obviously the word says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And if we're not speaking, people are going through things that we're going through and we think we're the only one because we're not talking about it. Yeah. Exactly.
You're holding up somebody's breakthrough.
Come on now.
Because you're afraid to expose yourself and look less than perfect. Well, newsflash, we're not perfect.
None of us are.
And we're here to help each other. You went through that particular storm because God knew that you would be the person to help somebody else out. So bring back the testimony
service. But do you think that we in the congregation have a responsibility as well?
Yes.
I know if you're in like small groups, you can say, okay, this is going to be personal and this shouldn't be. But when you're in a big congregational type
protect
setting,
that person.
So I think we all have a responsibility because sometimes you might hear something that's a little bit juicy and you might think, oh my gosh, I would have never thought.
Where does it move from gossip to testimony
there you go, to gossip? Come on now. So I think we all have a responsibility to protect the people that are testifying. And I I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I think I really need to testify. I really need to talk. But I just, I think I don't want people to know my business. I don't want people to know what I've done or what I've been through. It's easy to do I had one when we had the snow and my car skidded and I thought my car was going to go into a house. And when I was like, God save me, because, thought I was going to die, and look, I'm here.
Yeah.
So it's easy for those ones. But when I was in sin and I was doing this and, I nearly died in it and this is what God did. We're not as brave with those types of things, are we?
No.
So,
Well, I've lost all willingness to hide things because I realize the more I testify, the more I talk about it, the less power the devil has over me.
Now.
So I just be singing on myself, girl. I be singing on myself.
Absolutely.
I don't care anymore.
So I think it's so important, and I think we should encourage each other in it and encourage each other to speak out and speak our truth and love and support people when they share. When they share. Right then. So there was a few other things, but we're going to move on to our other hot topic because these are some things that I really want to talk about. So, Tasha, would you get an arranged marriage? Come on, girl. Listen, let's set the scene, okay? You've been single for 5-10 years and you're just not seeing nobody, and then somebody comes up to you and says, look, I know this guy, and for whatever reason, you can only meet once or twice, what have you. But I think they're really, really like a great match for you. Would you do it?
That's okay. Singleness is all right. I'll be in the same boat with Paul and Jesus.
Come on, okay.
I don't know. Listen, it took me a while to even do online shopping. Much less, I need to see my stuff. So I need to see this man face to face. Like, what do you look like? What do you smell like? What do you sound like? Come on, Andrea. No. And I'm not talking about exploring the stuff that we're not supposed to explore.
No, of course.
But
I think, so we know that there are some cultures who do it and do it successfully. There are other cultures that...
Do they really?
I know...
Because I just watched a movie on Netflix and kind of poked some holes in the arrangement. Was
it based on true life, or was it just a movie?
I can't remember. But it was like that. The Asians are very famous for that. So the friend. So it was a Caucasian friend and it was an Asian friend. They grew up together, neighbors next to each other. And he felt it was time for him to get married. And her mother was pressuring her, aren't you going to find somebody? I'm afraid for you because you've always been single. And I kept saying, well, why are they not together? Because they seem so perfect for each other. Anyway, he went off. He went back to wherever he was from. I don't know if it was Pakistan or wherever. Had the whole arranged marriage thing. And the friend documented it because that was her type of work. And she kept saying, but you don't love this person. And where is the chemistry? He is like, chemistry is not important, trying to put off all these different things. At the end of the day, he and the girl that he married to, they ended up getting a divorce, because she was involved with somebody else and she truly loved that person. And, this friend that he had all these years, she actually really liked him. And I'm like, why? You could see the chemistry between them. But for some reason, anyway, at the end of the movie, they ended up together.
Oh, well, yes, because it's a movie and it's not based on real life.
But
so
she was right, because he was saying, oh, that's not important and this is not important and we will grow to love each other. But some people, they don't, but they stay in it and they honor it. Well, for his parents, the mother said, I didn't really know, but it was something during the wedding ceremony. I think the husband noticed she was either anxious or whatever, and he reached over and held her hand. And she said she felt safe. And then, as they grew in
Yeah,
marriage
yeah.
and whatever. They fell in love and it worked out. So it works for some
So
people.
it does work for some people. It does,
But I'm
and I
not
think,
the some people.
yeah, obviously you've got to be open to that. And as I said, in some cultures it does work, and it doesn't work for others. I know back in the day in church life and church cultures, the ways that relationships were made were pretty much arranged. So somebody would go to, we had a patriarch in our church. So somebody would go to the patriarch and say, I like sister so-and-so. He would go to sister so-and-so and say, brother so-and-so likes you. So you two, and basically that was it. And then they would end up getting married. And this happened numerous times. It's why we had so many weddings. Not all of those weddings made it. Not all of those marriages made it. But a lot of them did.
Okay.
And I think when I have these conversations, I speak to my mum about it a lot, because we talk about, how much is attraction important, how much is chemistry important, how much is all those types of things. Can you be with somebody that you're not attracted to, but you respect them? If they've got other positives about them, will that make up for those? And I was listening to a dating coach yesterday, and she said, actually, you don't have to put all your eggs in the basket in terms of looks, because that person could have other things.
Looks change.
Yeah,
I definitely
looks
realise
change,
that it
and
changes.
if they have other areas that are important to you, for example, for me, it's a really good sense of humour. If I can laugh with you,
I need to be able to cackle.
You
with
don't
Come on now.
have to look like Morris Chestnut. If you can laugh and joke,
where are those
I mean,
men
it wouldn't hurt, but if you can laugh and joke with me, then it's not so bad. But I do think that these relationships, you have to be in the right mindset to say, okay, no matter what, we're going to make this work. But a lot of them is just, it's that mutual respect. They get to know each other, they grow together, and they grow to love each other. And I think you've got to have the heart, but it has to be the right people who, have dealt with their past traumas and all that kind of stuff, because otherwise you're getting two people who are both dealing with things, and then they're going to come together and it isn't going to work. But I would trust somebody who knew me very well to to arrange my marriage, or to set me up on a date as minimum, I suppose.
So a lot of the marriages in church back then happened that way. Why then don't people see it important now for that to happen? Because there are more singles in the church now more than ever. Yeah. And nothing is happening.
I think culturally things have changed and shifted a lot. Back in the day, there's still an emphasis on marriage now, but I don't think it is as much as it was back in the day.
Even in the church?
Yeah, I think it's still, the emphasis is on marriage, but they wouldn't push it as much. It's not like the be all and end all. They say it's okay to go and get your degree, and it's okay to get your house and your stuff. I think back in the day it was, come on, you better to marry than to burn. And if you don't marry, you're going to do something that you're not supposed to do. So you need to get married. So I think it was. And then I think there were certain people who were very focused on that. Certain of the older brethren who were like, right, let's really help our young people and find somebody. Yeah. Those types of people have either died out or they don't have it anymore. And I think now looking round, even if there was people who wanted to do that, who are they going to match you with?
I don't know.
We've had an exodus of Christian men where we're sitting in a church pretty much full of women, and I've seen statistics being thrown around, but one of them is only 5% of relationships start with people meeting each other in church. Yeah. So, and it's one of the
either
lower...
already married.
Yeah.
The grandfather of the church.
Yeah.
Or maybe a divorcee or something. So the pool is very small.
It is very small. So the likelihood of you meeting somebody eligible in church, and I think it probably gets harder as you get older as well, is very low. So it's been a perfect storm over the past how many years, and now we're in this place, and we're in a place where some of the leaders don't even realise that it's an issue.
Yeah.
We
have to look at it in different aspects. But when I think about the few who are actually there, but we call our brother, oh, that's my brother.
Yes.
And somebody said to me the other day, wonder if you're calling your husband brother. You've written him off as your
yes.
brother. Why?
Listen, I don't even.
And you're telling him you'll make somebody a great wife. And you know that he would be a great husband, but why you're not the one?
Listen, I'm the one for any men in church, right? I don't care. Yeah, I know there's probably a bit of an age difference, but I'm just like, I'm open. I think though, when you've grown up in your church, or you've been in church for a long time and you've kind of grown with these people, it's really difficult to
become
see
your brother
them.
and your sister for
It's
real.
difficult to see them as something more than just, oh, that's so and so and that's so and so. But yeah, I do recognise that there are decent men in church. We can't say there's not. There are decent men in church, yeah.
But we need to do something about it, because the end of it is this thing dying out. If we don't come together, if we keep having all these single people and we're living the right way, we're not doing what we're not supposed to be doing. There's no reproduction taking place. There's nobody to continue Christianity. That's how we have to start looking at it.
No, it's 100% true.
And so we need to fix it.
There's been some research done by, I believe it's the Single Friendly Church, who are a really, really great organisation, and I suggest anybody check them out if you can.
The
Single Friendly Church. So they help churches become more friendly and approachable and acceptable to single people, because sometimes when single people are in church, it can feel a little bit awkward if there's only families or only couples and you're the only one. So they encourage people to churches to be better for single people. And they've said that in 2 or 3 generations, children will only have one saved parent, because parents will start to have to go and have children with unsaved people, and one saved parent or one saved grandparent and stuff like that. And when you're balancing it like that, your ability to raise up and train up your child in the way they should go is
in
limited.
a godly home.
It's limited. So that's one of our heartbeats is singleness and singleness in church. So we could talk about it all day, but we have to move on. But don't worry, guys, it's definitely something we're gonna come back to, because we've always got something to say about it.
We got 600 things to come back to.
Listen, I'm making a note, girl. I'm making a note, and then there's all the comments that people are adding and all the suggestions for subjects. So I'm making a note. But this is one that I really wanted to talk about because I just thought, wow. So, burial versus cremation. Now, I know that, and once again, we'll say back in the day, or maybe even still now, there are some Christian people who really are against cremation because, obviously the dead in Christ shall rise and they shall have a new body and all that kind of stuff. So if you're burnt up in ashes spread across the world, how are you going to rise in your new body?
God will put you back together.
Just stick you back together. So I know that some people just, they don't like it for that reason. And I know for other people, it's just not a thing that they'd want to do. Yeah, culturally, it's not really the done thing. But we know that cremation is a lot cheaper than burials, funerals, burial plots, coffins, everything are expensive. So do you have a preference?
I didn't really think about it because, number one, why am I thinking about death? But now, as I'm getting older, you realize it's inevitable. And so this is something you have to plan for. So not just where is my spirit going, but where is my body going? Are you going to fire me up on the grill? Or you're going to put me in a box? And just coming off of having to deal with my mom's funeral, my God. Child.
Yeah.
Listen.
It's expensive.
Just for them to dig that hole is £3,500.
What? To get myself.
That's what somebody
give me
said.
a couple of days
some shovel.
and a shovel.
But you can save a few coins if you're smart in that, if you get a 2-plot or a 3-plot.
Okay.
So the difference in it is £40.
Okay.
So you can have a 3-plot and you get the deed for that plot.
Okay.
So, but you still got to pay again
to
dig it back up. I think that's about £1,500 or something to that effect. But depending on the council, because we live in England, guys, so depending on the council, the figures might be a bit different. So And that's just digging the grave. We're not even talking about the casket.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, that was a whole schooling for me when I learned the difference between the casket and the coffin.
Oh,
The
okay.
difference between the casket and the coffin is like 2,000 pounds. And I'm like, what? You know, but we as black people, we have a lot of pride, so we
do.
don't want mommy
yeah.
or grandpa or auntie to go in the casket because you want everybody to see that you put them away well. But suppose you don't have the money to put them away
Listen.
well. Now you're gone to beg a loan for something that you know what I'm saying. You put
That you're
yourself
not
in
gonna
debt.
you're not going to see it again.
It's going in the ground.
So you're not going to see it
It's
again.
gonna be rot in
Yeah.
no time. So now I'm thinking differently.
I mean,
I've been to a cremation service like maybe 3 years ago now, and it scared me.
oh gosh.
I think because it was my first
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
And when that curtain closed and I knew what was going to happen, I felt sick.
Oh,
when I got home, I
dear.
just went straight to bed to sleep. But now, having gotten over that initial shock,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, listen, if I pass away, I don't want my kids out here eating crackers, drinking water because they wanted to put mommy in a fancy casket. Burn me up. I ain't gonna. If you don't have the money, have the
That's it.
beautiful service.
Yeah.
And you talk about people saying scatter the ashes. Well, if you want to keep me on the mantle and talk to me every day.
This is what I'm saying. So I spoke. No, I'm not even joking.
That is fine.
I speak
Put
to
me
my,
on the mantle.
I speak to my parents, my mum and dad. Like my mum is very much like,
nice.
death is going to come. We need to talk about it. I
Yeah,
hate
we
it.
have to.
But
We
she's
have
like, we
to.
need to talk
No, we
about it.
need to.
So my
Yeah.
dad, definitely not. He just
He doesn't want to have the conversation.
No,
No.
Well, not necessarily conversation, but he wouldn't be cremated. Don't want to be cremated. That's fine. My mum's like, do whatever, burn me up, put me in one cheap box, just
Lord,
whatever,
my
just don't cost
goodness.
no money. But I said, if I did get my mum cremated,
Yeah.
you better believe that those ashes are going everywhere with me. We're going on holiday
Stop.
together. I'll be like, look, mum, it's America. Look, it's Barbados.
They're gonna have
She
you
coming
committed.
everywhere with me in the business. She coming everywhere with me. Sit on my mantle, talk to her all the time.
Lord.
Because I think it's sweet. And I know that there are like there's jewelry and stuff that you can make that has some of the ashes and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, no, she's staying with me. And I have no issue with that whatsoever. But I mean, I'm not fussed. I know that some people like to have somewhere to be able to go and they know that the person is there so they can talk and spend
But
time. And
everybody is different because
Yeah.
it's like I don't have any problem now going to my mom's gravesite because I've gone quite a few times now. I was recently there because it would have been her birthday, and you know. I was like, Mom, I'm here. I know she can't hear me. But either way, put down the flowers. And, I wasn't as teary-eyed.
Yeah.
But then for somebody else, going is like, I hate going there. I hate knowing that that's where she is, But everybody is different. But for me, if you have not adequately planned for the
That's the
end,
thing.
I don't think you can hold your family fast and hard to, I want to be buried.
Yeah.
I know there are people who take the body back to a different country.
Listen, I have a friend who doesn't live who doesn't live in England anymore. He used to live in England. Most of his family are in England, but he's moved out to the Caribbean. He's planning to come back, but he said, I've said to my family, if anything happened to me while I'm over there, they need to bring my body back because if I'm there, there's nobody there to look after my grave and there's nobody there to visit me. I said, what difference does it make?
You're not gonna know.
You're not there anymore.
Are we
Why
not
would you
making
put
light of the situation, viewers?
No, we're not. We're
making
not.
light of the situation. But think about it for real.
Definitely. And I think the way that we could finish it off, we know that death is very serious. We know
Plan
that
for
grief
it.
is serious, but we would say plan for
Plan
it.
for
Think
it.
about
I know
it.
that I've said that I need to go back and
Plan for it, girl.
finish because I did say to the people who handled my mom's service, they do have the plans.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow, a lot of people don't really think about it at your age. And I'm like, I'm 30. Well, at the time I was 34. I'm like, 34 and people not thinking about that. Because she's like, if you start planning now, it's the less you pay. So plan for it so you don't have your family having to have a fish fry to bury you in the casket. Like, honestly.
But I think as well, definitely plan for it. Put your money away if you can. Speak to those near and dear to you. And I think this is something, as I said, my mum has always been like, I want to talk to you about death. She said her mum didn't talk to her about it. And so when it happened, it was really...
And it's a shock.
A shock.
Yeah.
And so we speak about it all the time, as much as I hate it, but I appreciate having those conversations. And I think if you can, and if you're in a good place with those people that you love, have those conversations, even if it's just when I go, I don't want, like I said, when I go with my program in my funeral service, I want only pictures of me. Don't put random people in there, because if people come and they're like, well, who is this person? No. If it's me with somebody else, then fine. But don't just... I've gone to funeral services and I'm like, but who are these people?
Because they want to be included.
Because they want to say, we know the person.
They never wanted to take the picture when it was picture time. But everybody wants to be included now.
So even if you have those light-hearted kind of conversations, but so that people can know what it is that you would like, and so you can know what your loved ones would like, and then you feel better about fulfilling their wishes in those really difficult times. No, not at all. But guys, that is it. That is all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us.
Crazy random topics.
Listen, we've got more crazy random topics. You know us, and you know my brain. It's crazy random. But thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to joining you again on another episode of Faith, Grit, and Grace.
Bye.